Tana McDermott. I am Vice President of Revenue Operations here at Workiva. Revenue operations consists of inside sales, so we are focused on the front of the pipeline, generating qualified pipeline for the sales team. We also have the renewals team under revenue operations, so we're focused on renewing our current install base. And then we also have a reporting and analytics team, which is focused on bringing visibility to all things revenue operations. Passive pipeline analytics here was pretty much non-existent. The challenge that we had was that sales and marketing were looking at different data sets. And so when we would look at pipeline gaps, our VP of marketing would say, we have X amount of pipeline gap. Our chief revenue officer would say, well, I'm seeing a pipeline gap of X amount. And there was one time when I asked him, our chief revenue officer at the time, where are you seeing this pipeline gap? Because I'm like, I have all this data in front of me and I'm like, I'm not seeing it. He's like, just a gut feel. I'm like, oh man, so that was the past. I mean, there was a disconnect between sales and marketing, not a consistent data set. And also the past was that we started to operate more in a very complex matrix model. And so we were forced to get greater visibility into the pipeline to be able to manage our business in a complex environment. The president of pipeline analytics at Workiva, we've definitely come a long way in the past couple of years. Really, revenue operations is sitting between sales and marketing. And so this has allowed us to really create a single source of truth for the key sales and marketing metrics, such as average deal size, cycle time, win rate, close rate, and pipeline. And we actually use our own tool, so the Workiva platform, as one of the key tools that we look at for our pipeline. And we've come together between sales and marketing and identified what's our pipeline multiple that we want to strive to achieve. And so really we take a reverse waterfall approach to looking at our pipeline and pipeline coverage. So essentially we take the budget for annually or quarterly, and then we take the pipeline multiple that we're trying to achieve. So we take budget times pipeline multiple, and that gives us our target amount of qualified pipeline that we need. And then we subtract any closed one from that. That gives us a pipeline gap or deficit based upon the pipeline in relation to the budget for that quarter or annually. So this has allowed us to see, we operate in a very complex matrix model. And so we want to see pipeline by solution, by team, by segment. And so seeing that in one overall view really allows us to be able to quickly pivot with demand generation or outbound field marketing as needed throughout the quarter. In addition, we use the BI tool through AWS called QuickSight. So in addition to using our own Workiva platform to see this, where the pipeline is updated daily, in QuickSight, we are able to build out the historical data. So that's where we see quarterly trends for average deal size, cycle time, win rate, and future quarter pipeline. So what we do with that is we are able to see the pipeline by stage. Some of the questions that we ask ourselves on a daily basis are, do we have enough pipeline by solution? Is it moving? Is it falling out? Where is it falling out? Why is it falling out? And so then we have bi-weekly pipeline reviews with the sales and marketing teams to be able to assess, what can we do to continue to keep that pipeline moving along. The future of pipeline analytics, at least at Workiva, one of our goals is to incorporate more predictive analytics and more machine learning into our pipeline to be able to tell us, based upon the historical data that we have, what is this going to be able to predict for the future? And by no means, I am not one with a background that can write queries and SQL, but I have some geniuses on our team who are focused on that. And so we are starting to get into more of the predictive space. For example, one thing that we've done is based upon the trailing 8 quarters of data that we have, we look at our pipeline multiple at each day in the quarter, and we take that historical data and combine it with what our pipeline is at this day in the quarter, predicting what bookings would we anticipate getting this quarter or next quarter based upon where we are at. So we're starting to get in that realm, but also we don't use tools like Clary or anything today. Like I mentioned, we use our own Workiva platform, and so we've created a lot of these views on our own. In fact, I had a demo a couple of days ago from a tool, and they were like, do you feel like this would be beneficial for you? And I'm like, honestly, our team has kind of created this already in-house. So it's cool to say. And then I pinged, of course, somebody on my team. I'm like, we could go sell this, but not today. We can, we'll get there. We'll get there. But yeah, I think that that's where the future is headed for us. Early stage stalled opportunities. In fact, I just got off the phone with a sales rep today, and we have this great view for top of the house, so we can see our pipeline by team. But I was like, what do you use every day to see your pipeline in the matrix model, right? Like, how are you? And she honestly pulled up a document, and she said, well, I have my list of deals here, and I know next steps. And honestly, I kind of cringed, but it's true, right? And so I showed her what we've done for the rest of the organization at a team level. And I said, just imagine, like, if you were able to see this, a list of all of your sellers there, how much pipeline they have in comparison to their quota for the quarter or for the first half of the year. I'm like, how powerful would that be? She was like, there's no way to hide when you have visibility like that. So I think that just creating the more visibility for the sellers to be able to see their pipeline for current quarter and next quarter, and be able to see, do you have all your eggs in one basket, and are you banking on that huge deal to come in, or do you have your portfolio spread out across all the solutions that you can sell? And how are you progressing that? Like, naturally, a seller is always concerned about, what can I close this quarter, right? And so what we see with those early stage stalled opportunities, especially as our inside team is generating that front of the pipeline funnel of qualified opportunities, that when we hand those over, sellers are focused on, what can I close this quarter? And then they get to the next quarter and they're like, shoot, I have 10 deals here that are in early stage that I haven't followed up with. So really, it's just keeping that continuous cycle going, so that we're not just focused on the current quarter. So any magic wand that you have to to cure that would be great. Well, I don't think it happens overnight. Workiva naturally has a culture here, that our culture is extremely important to us. Majority of the people who come into Workiva have been referred from somebody else. So we definitely pride ourselves on that culture of, just work together and get it done, be very collaborative in the process. But also just the collaboration between sales and marketing. Like I said, that didn't happen overnight either. We've worked hard at that over the course of the past few years, but I really think that what has brought us more together is just the visibility into looking at the same data. I mean, that is huge, that, we're putting it in front of people. We're looking at one common source of data and saying, and it's just the honest discussion of, we're low here, we're high here. What is sales doing? What is marketing doing? What is inside sales doing? And just tackling it. So I think that that's part of what's grown our culture. Sure, I love virtual high fives. I will give a virtual high five to Julie Iskow. I'll give a virtual high five to Michelle Amato, and a virtual high five to Paul Volpe. Julie is our Chief Operating Officer. Michelle Amato is a Vice President of Sales leading the Strategic Financial Services team. And then Paul Volpe came from the sales world and is leading our growth initiatives here at Workiva. So I gave some virtual high fives to my good Workiva friends, who I think would be a great addition to this.